Welcome, welcome everybody to Taylor Tuesday. It's a beautiful day out here in Whitefish, Montana. I'm sitting out on the deck. I've got the Rocky Mountains behind me, and I can't be any happier other than the fact that I get to talk with two very good friends here for the next hour. As you all know, I've been working with Dr. King for it's over a year, Mike. I think we started in March of last year when we started doing webinars, and
it's amazing.
It is amazing, and I think that what I want everybody to know is that we started this originally just to help everybody through the chaos that was going on. You know, we were looking to help people just figure out how they could survive and make their practices better and come up with tools. You know, we really try to promote Taylor as a family. It's not just because we got the best price, or it's not just because we can do X, Y, and Z, but we wanted it to be about a community. I mean, we are a community of podiatric physicians and surgeons that are working together to try and get great outcomes for our patients while enjoying the fruits of our labor when we're working. You know, I'm going to turn it over to Mike, and he's going to talk to you a little bit about Taylor, and then we're going to have a chance to for me to introduce Chad Herron, one of the operating partners with Total Ancillary, one of our partners in the Taylor community. Mike.
Excellent, thanks, Ira. So I just want to take one brief moment to I won't call it a shout out, but our condolences go out to one of our board members, Mary Beth Crane, for the loss of her father today. So I just wanted to throw that out there. I know, Ira and I are thinking of you, and I know all your, as Ira said, we're a family. Taylor, everybody in Taylor's thinking of you, Mary Beth. So anyway, our condolences for you. Let's get back into the business here, and that, reminding all of you that the webinars are all available. And Ira, it is amazing. We started these over a year ago. And we've done, I guess we've done at least 20. It's been pretty active all summer, et cetera, and the turnout's been great. So, you can go back and take a look at these webinars anytime you want. Just go to the taylormedical.com portal and click on webinars. You can see that Carla and the team highlighted those nicely for you. I actually went back, I got bumped last week with I guess if I'm going to get bumped, I might as well get bumped by an NBA All-Star. So that was pretty cool. But for our last talk, so it's nice to be back. But so I went back and got to watch the rest of that, the part that I missed in that. So please go to the web page, take a look at these. You can review this. Chad's got some amazing information for you here. I know you're going to want to go back and make sure that you draw everything out from what he's going to talk about. So a typical little bit of commercial here for those of you who haven't been involved is, take the time to get a personalized analysis. Carla, Siobhan, Ashley, the whole team, they will take the time to give you an incredible overview of your practice and how you can save substantial amounts of money. This is a strong team and getting stronger, and the more that you all participate, the stronger it gets. And so, get a list of all those products in your office, put down the SKUs, the sizes you use, the typical ordering platform that you use. If I get 10 boxes of this or 5 of this, put them on an Excel sheet if you can, or any way you can get them to us. And and you can email those over to Carla's team at admin@taylormedical.com, and you will get a great review back. And if you can do an Excel, great. If not, you can even send receipts, and we'll figure out a way to do that. But anyway, take the time to do that. You're going to be excited by this platform tonight. It's one of the most impressive groups that I've seen in the wound care space to date. And I think it's going to be exciting. So Ira, I'll let you bring the show home.
Great. Can you hear me?
Sure can.
Gotcha.
Okay. So the one last thing I'm going to tell you about Taylor, and then I'm going to introduce Chad, is that if anything that you think you're going to need, I would give Carla or Ashley or Siobhan a call. We have such relationships that we have access to anything that you're going to need in your office. And all we ask is that you give us an opportunity to allow you to take advantage of your membership in Taylor, and see if we can provide anything for you. I'm going to turn the program over to Chad Herron. Chad is one of the operating partners with Total Ancillary. Total Ancillary was developed probably a couple 2-3 years ago. The dream started coming together. And I think that you're going to be very pleased because, utilization of in-office wound care, whether it's biologics or DME, requires you to manage this. This is not something that you want to have mistakes, and you want to have a good seamless process. And that's one of the things that Total Ancillary provides. So, Chad, I'm going to turn it over to you, and I'm going to put myself on mute. But if you need us, we're a phone call away.
Excellent. So thank you very much for the introduction. Again, my name is Chad Herron with Total Ancillary. And kind of at a basic level, we are a technology-driven biologics services company. We have offices in Dallas, Atlanta, and also Miami. We are an FDA-registered tissue intermediary. We purchase product directly from manufacturers. So tonight, what I wanted to take the time and present to y'all is our approach to really driving excellence when it comes to in-office wound care. And like Dr. Krause was saying, you can certainly look at like DME and collagen, things of that nature. Those are services that provide the benefits verifications and et cetera for DME. But tonight, what I wanted to focus on is more specifically using amniotic skin substitutes to treat wounds in office. Just taking a step back to examine how we got here. My business partners and I, we have a background in pharmacies, and we had a pretty large chain of pharmacies, and we found ourselves back in 2016 or 17. There was just an influx of different products available on the market. And so I remember one day our director of purchasing called us and said, which product do I use to fill this prescription? Because there are 11 different generic products that all will be covered. And so we developed a software approach to understanding formulary coverage for each of the products across all of the PBMs or the payers on the pharmacy side, but also just much the same way that we're truly passionate for our podiatry clients, especially ones that are self-employed, you're entrepreneurial. You want to provide the best in care for your patients, but when you start to utilize more advanced modalities like amniotic skin substitutes, there is an inherent risk that comes with it, and you are making the investment in these products. And so we originally got into this space, and Dr. Krause, I know we were working with you about 2-3 years ago, and essentially we started doing some consulting work for your organization and on the pharmacy side. But once we took our software that we developed that it allowed us to make game time decisions on which products are covered, number one, and secondly, which products are most profitable on a per transaction basis. We brought that solution to your organization, but then we were asked if we could do the same thing and take the same pro-doctor, pro-patient approach when it comes to amniotic skin substitutes in office. And so we spent the next 6 months consulting for EHI and building our software platform. But at the end of the day, like we tell everybody, we are agnostic when it comes to which products our clients are using. We just want to educate at every single turn what products are available out there, and we want to try to remove as much risk as possible. So we're going to jump into more in-depth presentations. Certainly, I would love to answer any and all questions that you guys may have. And with that, I always like to start from a clinical perspective. Certainly, our clients are making the best decisions when it comes to patient care. Obviously, we look at top quality products, number one, and we physically go out, spend time with these manufacturers. We review all of the clinical data. We work with podiatrists who consult for us, who also review clinical data, provide feedback to us. We want to make sure that first and foremost that we are providing quality products. And then secondly, something else that we are passionate about is we know the published data shows that amniotic skin substitutes have an 85% success rate within a 12-week period of time. So you have the recipe for success. If this is the best treatment route that you feel is best for your patients, we have products that work. But back to what Dr. King was saying, with the success of your Taylor Tuesday webinar series, we had very much the same epiphany, if you would, during COVID. We had a lot of podiatrists who were not able to practice in their clinics because they were indeed, your clinics were closed down or whatever it may be for a period of time. So during about this is going to sound unbelievable, during about a 3.5 month period of time, I personally did a little over 300 45-minute webinars specific to skin substitutes. And I can tell you that there was an overwhelming pattern of the same experience that so many of our podiatrists were just, it was kind of the same conversation over and over again. So first of all, these products are expensive. So inherently from the get-go, there is a sense of risk. I mean, certainly if you're coming out of pocket, you're swiping your American Express or whatever that may look like, you have skin in the game, from day one. So there is the fact that they are expensive products. You could wind up coming out of pocket a pretty good amount in order to treat a patient and get them better. What we heard, though, what I personally heard, probably I'll go out on a limb and say of those 300 presentations, probably 90% of those podiatrists will admit to having lost a considerable sum of money. I mean, it's I've heard personally anywhere from just a couple of $1,000s that our current podiatry clients have lost historically. Most I heard was about $160,000. But largely the same story is what we hear over and over, and that was there was a particular manufacturer, product was reimbursing well. They did not offer any payment terms, so they were swiping credit cards up front. And then lo and behold, there was a large reimbursement event where the Q code itself stopped reimbursing, and many of the podiatrists I've spoken with, the vast majority, were left with skin grafts on the shelf that they could not get reimbursed for. And so that same story, when I hear that, what that means to us, and this is part of our passion about what really drives us every day, is you have an advanced modality. It has an 85% success rate, but then you have doctors who feel like this may be the best course of treatment, but are not willing to go this route because of the experience that they had with not getting reimbursed. Other things that we constantly see, challenges specific to in-office skin substitutes, is there are, like as everybody knows, there are consistently quarterly changes to reimbursement. There's also, and so we monitor that for all of our clients on a quarterly basis and make sure that we always remain in the know when there is a reimbursement change. Also, price increases or price modifications from manufacturers. That's the other side of the equation. If you're going to calculate net profitability, you need to know both cost per square centimeter and reimbursement per square centimeter. And there are a lot of variations, and it's a more active little niche area of healthcare than you may expect. But we see a sizable number of changes on both reimbursement and on pricing. Also, something else that we hear pretty consistently is a majority of our current podiatry clients will say that they get their information typically from one or two sales reps, and those obviously those particular manufacturers have a vested interest in promoting their product and their product alone, versus coming at it from a complete different angle. And that's where we say, guys, look, we seek to educate you on every transaction so that you know what products are available to you, and you also know the economics surrounding cost and what you can expect from a reimbursement perspective. So again, very different approach with how we approach the just overall process. And then finally, if you were to look at on a per transaction basis how to maximize the return on your investment, and also at the same time greatly reduce risk, you would need to wind up doing multiple prior authorizations, per patient if you wanted to compare one to the next. And so instead of you having to do that's part of the core of our program is we do that for you. And we constantly collect the data, and we know what products are covered under particular formularies. And then certainly we stay very educated on the economic outcomes for all of these products. So, I mean, the resulting scenario is we find a lot of now clients where historically, after having lost money and having navigated this difficult modality, a lot of our clients were sending patients out to wound care facilities. And so it's our goal and our passion to be able to drive continuity of care and allow for our podiatry clients to oversee the entire care spectrum, everything that they can oversee there in the clinic. So that's what gets us out of bed every day. So what we developed, well, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and pause. Dr. Kraus, in your opinion, I'll even go back to that slide because I'd like to get somebody's real world experience in it, but does all of that ring true? What are your thoughts?
Yeah.
In general?
So I can tell you that I think we started working together with Total Ancillary on our biologics platform in August of 2019. I can tell you that to no fault of anybody's, it was a little bit of a disarray. We had some very high volume wound care providers who we were doing there was a bad job in tracking and returning, graphs were disappearing, and there wasn't accountability. And I think the biggest thing that helped me and helped our company was the fact that the systems had accountability. We were able to track at this point in time, and as of today in 2021, we actually have my team. I have a team of people that help me with biologics. We work with the Total Ancillary team, and we actually have a weekly wound care call, and we review the data. So it has been extremely beneficial for us to make sure that we can chase down the claims, appeal the claims. And what's been really great with Total Ancillary is that you all have been able to, you have a full reimbursement team, and you've actually helped us, with our appeal letters and our appeal. So, overall, it's been a huge asset for us to be able to provide this level of care to our patients and not get turned upside down.
Great. No, good. Look, yeah, and we're honored that we've been at this now. Yeah, like you said, August will be 2 years, and so that's hopefully we're doing something right. But what we developed, beyond doing what's best for our clients from a business perspective, we also including reducing risk the best to our ability. But we wanted to reduce, where at all possible, back office work as well. And so, we know if we're truly going to make friends with our clients, that we also need to make sure the office staff, that we're doing right by them as well. So we have developed a process where our clients will send in a single or universal insurance verification form. We'll take a look at an example here in a moment. That comes into Total Ancillary to our home office in Dallas, Texas, and then we will match up the best-in-class products. What we typically do, we'll match them up by payer. What we normally do is we have a consulting session on the front end so that we can look at, based upon your geography and the different payers that you see, we can provide to you cost and reimbursement rates. Certainly if it's a commercial payer, we would need to get your fee schedule, but we can share national averages and things of that nature so that we are educating on the front end. And so that it's, then you as a client, you're really kind of what to expect. But again, you send in that universal insurance verification form. We will turn back to you your prior authorizations within 48 hours. And then from there, our clients select which product they'd like to order. We have a system by which we ship a large portion of our products from our tissue intermediary here in Dallas, but we also coordinate drop shipments from other manufacturers as well. So all in all, we have good coverage across pretty much all of the payers as a whole. Doctor places the order, and then we turn the PO to the doctors. We help through the entire process. We want to make sure our clients are compliant from a tissue log perspective. We also, for our clients, we want to get involved in the billing side of things, not in the coding necessarily, but we have found that most of the time, whenever there is a denial, the vast majority of the time, it's directly related to clerical errors on the claims forms. And I know Dr. Krause, especially early on, whenever we got involved, that was a very large portion of all of the appeals that we're helping with, where they're specific to just old-fashioned errors on 1,500 claims forms. And so, but we do want to be involved during that entire process. Here's an example of a universal insurance verification request. That this form can be used for, if you can see down in here, for our injectable product, which I know we're not talking about tonight, but we do have the national podiatric exclusivity for a reimbursable injectable amniotic product. But perhaps Taylor will have us back here in the not too distant future. Would love to discuss that. It's that product is going amazingly well. But then also skin substitutes. And like I mentioned earlier, we're also involved with DME as well. So everything is off of one single form. So it's very straightforward. And then in return, our clients receive, our clients receive a summary page back to them within 48 hours. And from there, we break down the economics for various products that would be a good fit. By the way, another net benefit, it's not just about economics, and that is an important criteria. But something I want to point out is we will find, for whatever reason, some products secondary insurance will cover, and then others just simply not. And so you're able to make a fully informed decision regarding overall payer coverage and whatever is best, works best for your patients. We work with a pretty large number of manufacturers, and so it's our goal that for us to consistently source best-in-class products. And so would love to have conversations much the same way that I know Dr. King was saying that you can provide all of your product purchases and they will do a double check for you, and they'll compare your pricing versus what's available through Taylor Medical GPO. Pretty much the same with us. We love clients who are already currently involved with doing wound care with skin substitutes in office. Would love to give you a second opinion at no cost. So that's a conversation that we certainly welcome. But we do feel like we really work with best-in-class products that can provide coverage across all of the payers. A lot of our clients just utilize us for the basic services, for the insurance verification at no charge. I just want to point out that we do not upcharge our products if you were to go direct to a manufacturer versus coming to Total Ancillary and purchasing through our FDA registered tissue intermediary. You'll pay the same price. And we provide the same net payment terms, if not in some situations better pay terms than some of the manufacturers. So we want to be cognizant of your cash flow, and certainly as small business owners, we just want to make sure that we're taking care of you. But besides that, what I just described, we also have an optional biologics billing platform where we bill for a pretty large number of clients. And then finally, we have a really slick software interface. It's more of an executive dashboard that we built for our clients. And I know, Dr. Krause, this is what we review on a weekly basis. Is we just get in here and we just get into the numbers. And you're able to quantify performance. Whatever data you would like to analyze, I promise you, we didn't skip over anything within our executive dashboard, but everything from larger systems being able to stack rank their doctors as far as overall purchasing or number of centimeters or number of cc's for injectables, profitability by payer, just you name it, all accounts receivable and accounts payable, everything listed in here. We typically get pretty solid accolades from CFOs and revenue cycle directors, just regarding there's nothing else like this on the market. And the software is provided at no additional charge, as it is right now for all of our clients who are utilizing.
Chad, can I say something?
Please do.
So one of the things that I was very surprised at was the fact that how many times when physicians were doing their notes and filling out either a paper super bill or an electronic super bill, that they were billing for the incorrect product. There are physicians that may have their go-to products, but for whatever particular reason, on this one patient, they chose to use a different product. But I will tell you that when we started working with Total Ancillary, we had over 1,000 misbilled units of product, which related to a significant amount of money. We now look at that weekly, because what happens is we provide a data dump from our EHR. We have a BAA with Total Ancillary, and I'm talking about extremity healthcare. The data is dumped and it's put into the software program that Total Ancillary has. And we look at this, we have a full-time billing person who actually looks at it daily, but I get involved on the weekly follow-up. We track our appeals. There's an appeal tracker. We are finding when doctors have billed the incorrect product and the incorrect amount of units. And the other thing that we do internally by utilizing this program is I actually read every single note on any patient that's getting a biologic to make sure that they've met the documentation criteria, so that should we get audited, that the notes will be able to stand up on their own, and it's a lot easier for me to get them when they're coming through the platform. So just to say that this is something that we use on a regular basis, and it has changed our reimbursements and our collections, and has helped us catch our mistakes and made us more efficient.
Absolutely. Thank you for that. I can't stress enough, wonderful tool for larger organizations, wonderful tool for individual doctors, who really want to run a tight ship. And so, but again, would love to walk through a demonstration. We have an amazing sales team at Total Ancillary, and would love to provide an overview for anybody who's interested in learning more about our executive dashboard. I made a comment earlier that most likely, if there's a denial, immediately suspect number one is clerical errors. Now, when you get into skin substitutes, MUE, instances where you're treating large wounds, and we also have very solid approaches to helping our clients navigate the treatment of larger wounds. And so, just know that we have a billing team that can help you on that front. But most typically, if there is a denial, it's by and large due to clerical errors. So we will, beyond just doing the benefits verifications and prior authorizations, we also highly encourage our clients on the early onset, send us their first 3 to 5 claims forms already filled out, and we will just double check them for clerical errors. So we don't make any recommendations regarding coding or anything along those lines, but from a clerical perspective, we want to make sure that you have them, that they are filled out correctly. If you do, in the event, receive a denial for whatever reason, we certainly have at no additional charge denial support, and we can help recommend how to polish up your claim and get it resubmitted so you have the best opportunity to have a successful EOB generated from that transaction. So again, additional services, no additional charge. So moving forward, again, we have a great team in Dallas. We will follow up with everyone tomorrow via email. So everybody who's on here, who's logged on, we will reach out to you by email and try to make it just as incredibly as easy as possible for y'all to get in touch with us. And there'll be a link to our website. There'll be some more information there. If you're interested in moving forward, we certainly won't slow things down. We can get you agreements and we can start moving forward very quickly. If I would suspect anybody who's interested is likely to have follow-up questions or would like to schedule a webinar for themselves personally with one of our sales managers, we can certainly put that together and make that happen, whatever makes the most sense. And then certainly I know tonight, we're talking specifically about our skin substitute platform, which was the sort of foundation of Total Ancillary. But beyond skin substitute, certainly would also welcome any conversations regarding reimbursable injectable amniotic injections and also DME. And you can see all the services that we provide on our website, and we have a whole suite of services we provide in surgery as well. That's a conversation for another day. So with that, Dr. Krause and Dr. King, I'd love to answer any questions or whatever you guys want to do next.
Chad, there were a couple of questions. Let me come back and put my picture back on here. Okay. You touched on it lightly, but there was a couple of questions regarding, reimbursement and LCD policies. And I think that it would be a good thing for you to touch on Tracy's team and talk about how you provide the practices with the appropriate information that's needed if there's an existing LCD policy in that MAC or if there's not. Sure. And can you touch on that a little bit?
Sure. That's another area that constantly evolves. Skin substitutes are a little more set because they've been around for a pretty lengthy amount of time. But certainly from a medical necessity perspective, these are some of the areas that we cover in training up front ahead of, prior to us rolling our program out within the clinic. We want to make sure that the doctor and the practice manager knows which patients are good candidates for an amniotic skin substitute treatment course based upon LCDs. And so that's really important because if you follow the LCDs and you have good documentation, in the words of one of our medical consultants, then you are essentially bulletproof. If you do everything by the letter of what Medicare is asking you to do, but that is all covered at length ahead of time. We have templates, we have lots of information, but we do have a mandatory training that we like to walk our clients through. Carrie, our director of client services, does a phenomenal job of leading that conversation. But we just want to make sure that everyone has clear-cut expectations and they understand what qualifies a patient to be medically necessary.
So if you have a document, Chad, that says we ran through something through TA and you said, hey, affinity is the choice, whatever, I'm just throwing something out there, obviously. Sure. And are those approval documents uploadable into EMR systems, or how would that get into the record saying that, hey, this has been vetted and proven and et cetera and approved?
Sure. Believe it or not, many of our clients just simply prefer email and fax. We do have a HIPAA compliant encryption platform that everything runs through. I just want to make sure that we are HIPAA compliant at all times. But certainly for clients that would like to integrate into their EHRs or whatever that may look like, that they, without a doubt, we can integrate with our clients. But then also there is a component within our executive dashboard that also provides notifications to our clients as well. And so it's really not a one size fits all, because I think I always say 80% of what all of our clients do is exactly the same, and the other 20% it's all over the board. And so whatever makes the most sense, we're here to try to solve problems and make order out of chaos. And we certainly want to be flexible to the best of our ability with our clients.
Chad, another question that we have here. Do you guys hear me? Okay.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I don't know if I pressed the wrong button or not. So how do you deal with the MACs that do not have LCD policies like Noridian? We know that not everybody has an active policy. Some have retired the policies. Some are going by the new LC articles. Do you want to talk about how you handle that?
Sure. Our opinion is if you adhere to the highest standards across the board, then you're going to be in good position. So that's why you have to keep in mind just as a whole, if you just look at it from all codes within CMS, 70% of CPT codes don't have any sort of local coverage guidance articles or NCDs. It just as a whole. And so we look at any time where there is a lack of guidance, either locally or nationally, that we model the highest level of guidance that's provided in other areas or other similar products, programs. But it's our goal to be conservative and keep everybody as safe as possible and reduce as much risk as possible. And so with that, I'll provide a quick example as well. Especially when it comes to commercial plans, there will be certain commercial plans that will say no prior authorization required, which to us is a red flag immediately, because because you allow risk to enter the equation, and we say we're not fans of risk, and so we are very, very conservative. We're dealing with thousands of transactions a month, and so we get to see some of these gotchas that come up, and we don't get duped very often, but you'll run into plans that are very regional, especially Advantage plans where based upon employers or teacher retirees, things of that nature, you really have to go the extra mile and pick up the telephone on every single one of those and call on every single one. Then we go the extra step and we document the formulary. And then for any time that there is ever a denial, which is few and far between, and then we document that denial. So this has been something that we've been at in high volume now for a couple of years. And so, but to your point, you have to understand where you can eliminate risk. And part of doing that without having guidance in certain Medicare MAC regions is to adopt that of the strictest standards in other regions.
One of the things I'll add, Chad, there are definite guidelines from the Medicare when the LCD policy is retired, that you also follow the guidelines with which they got their FDA clearance. For example, if you're in an area where there's no MAC and you're putting on a dermagraft, it's a maximum of 8 applications. Over, at a week period. If it's Apligraph, it's 5 applications. If it's membrane wrap and there's no recommended on that, I would probably stay to stick in the 10 to 12, which is the highest range, but you can always prior authorize for more. The other thing that I want to add that has been very helpful, if you do biologics in your practice, I don't know how many times it's happened to you, but what happens when the patients change their insurance plan in the middle of your treatment regimen and you didn't verify benefits on that new insurance, and now the product that you were providing to the patient is no longer covered? Well, I can tell you that it happens quite frequently, and I can tell you that what we do at Extremity through Total Ancillary is we do a benefit verification form on our reorders. So even though you get the first benefit, and Mike, that's to the question that you asked. When Total Ancillary sends you their document that gives you the prices, they also give you the BVs or the benefit verifications that were actually done by those vendors. Instead of your staff having to contact 4 vendors to verify the different products, Total Ancillary actually contacts the vendor, and we get a BV from that particular vendor. So that's also helped from the aspect of when you get denied on a claim, that the assurance program, if the vendor has that, because they told you that this was a covered product, and if you don't get paid because of investigational experimental and the company said it was covered, you get credit. And what's great is Total Ancillary archives all of those benefit verifications. I can't tell you how many times when we wanted to fight some of the claim forms that, and I don't mean it to, it didn't get scanned in, or somehow the staff forgot to scan it in, but all these documents are archived at Total Ancillary. So they actually have all of the invoices, all of the benefit verification forms. So really, it really gives you the opportunity to protect you if you're doing the right thing for your patients.
Yep, that's right. And,
so how about the appeal side of things, Chad? How deep do you guys get involved in that? Is it just a documentation platform, or how does that work?
Sure, that's one of the areas that oftentimes we've had a number of clients come to us who were already at that situation, who were already in the middle of some appeals, and they come to us and say, hey, look, if you can assist us, like when we're up against a brick wall here, if you guys can help us successful here, then we'll switch over to your platform. And so that is, we have a fantastic team at Total Ancillary. Yes, we also work with outside consultants who actually do audits, and they help defend against REC audits and things of that nature. So we have some really good top talent that we can bring to the board. Because oftentimes what we're talking about here, it's oftentimes a $2, $3, $5, $10,000 claim. I mean, they're big numbers, right? And so we don't stop short of until it's just completely exhausted the entire way. But we provide any and all levels of service that we're able to provide, including working with outside consultants to help do claims reviews. We often find that it's very often, and I know Dr. Krause, you can talk to this, but it's a lack of notes, a lack of, or it's a large wound. We have clients that come to us and they're treating a 64 square centimeter wound, and that's a very specialized level of information that needs to be pulled together. It needs to be accurate. It needs to fully prove the medical necessity. And if then oftentimes there's, you wind up going to the level of peer-to-peer conversations with the insurance payer in order to get things pushed through. So we will assist in all of that.
Ira, you're muted now for some reason. There you go.
All right. One of the things that I also think has been very helpful, and Chad briefly touched on it, and I will tell you that there's an article coming out in the very near future from APMA Coding Committee on MUEs, which are the medical unlikely edits. And there is a lot of the MUEs are actually not published on the biologics. So many times it's hit and miss, and you have to rely on the representatives of that company to tell you, this is the size wound that you can, these are the amount of units you can bill. And again, for those of you that do biologics and treat your patients, if you read the criteria, whatever dressing that you're going to put is supposed to cover the full wound. When a rep comes and says, well, our product is only 32 units, even though your wound is 64 units, you can put half of it on now and treat the other half of the wound later. That's not right. But I will tell you that it is possible that you, and highly probable with the guidance of the documentation, knowing in advance what the MUEs are. Not that your notes shouldn't have a certain level of documentation, but if you know that you're going to have to go back because there's a limit on MUEs and you feel that the product that you've chosen is the best product for this patient's wound, because you're going to have your notes, I would tell you that you have a very good chance of getting that payment. It may be delayed because of the process that you have to go through, but understanding the MUEs on each product, which is another service that Total Ancillary provides, is very beneficial.
Mm-hmm. You're absolutely, that's absolutely correct. We find that, yes, you have to oftentimes buckle down, but you can get paid. It just takes a little longer than you'd like, but when that's something that we can talk about in advance prior to treating that patient. So here's what you're dealing with, and this is what we've seen. And by the way, each Medicare MAC region we find takes a different amount of time, and there's slightly different approaches that we take as well. And so it's interesting, and some are more difficult than others. Some are faster than others in working with you and whatnot, but we can take all of our practices and pull them together to best assist your practice, no matter where you're at geographically.
So, Chad, there are small practices, mid-size, and of course large. And for large groups, we can see the benefits. What if I'm a onesie twosie group and I want to get into biologics? How do I get started with TA and get things rolling?
Sure, absolutely. What we find, even we work with hundreds and hundreds of clinics, and I truly wish that all of our clinics saw big wounds and they saw them all the time. But I mean, the reality is it's 2 or 3 patients a month. It's through the course of patients coming in for one reason or another. But look, that's an opportunity to provide excellent service for that patient. Getting started with Total Ancillary, again, we're going to send an email out to everybody tomorrow. You can also visit our website, totalancillary.com, which will be in the email tomorrow. But we like to provide education, guidance. We like to be completely transparent. We can certainly, I know tonight, again, we're focusing on skin substitutes, but we can walk through our entire portfolio of different services that we provide. And focusing predominantly on podiatrists, but it's a very easy contracting process, business associates agreement, clinic profile, and purchase agreement. Everything's done via DocuSign, and we provide again the training, the operations and billing training, and we provide contact information for all of our clients. We try to initiate the first benefits verification at the conclusion of our training, so we can put theory into practice and get going that way. And then we have a very solid customer service platform where we follow up with our clients and just so we try to be very, very thorough. We realize running a practice, it's busy. There's a lot of moving pieces.
Yeah, that was going to be my question, Chad. No, that was my question. Is that Ira's seeing 60 people a day, and he just doesn't take the time. I got to bust his tail to even pay attention to the EMR. How am I going to get him trained? How does that work?
Sure, absolutely. Look, we wanted, so there's multiple parties that need to be trained. We have a billing and operations training. It's specific to office managers and medical assistants and billing managers, anybody who's going to be involved in that process. Specifically our training and consultation with the doctors on the front end is largely turnaround times, expectations, in dollars and cents. That's where, and then also any clinical information up front. If you'd like to speak with one of the chief scientists from one of the manufacturers, we can certainly arrange that. If you have more treatment-related types of questions, we'll handle all that on the front end. We like to do screen share webinars. We have a lot of content available. We have a lot of just work product from all of our medical consultants who have put hours and hours into it. Let's educate on the front end. And let's certainly make sure that the staff who's going to be involved on an ongoing basis, they feel confident and comfortable with the entire process, including compliance, and tracking because these are human tissue products. And so just making sure that we are guiding our clients to be as as compliant as they need to be from a tracking lot numbers and things of that nature, specific to applications with patients. So all of that we cover extensively. Have a great staff. We field a lot of inbound phone calls on a daily basis. But what we find typically is when a client normally, say they send in their first half dozen benefits verifications, place a half dozen orders. We walk them through the claims process, and usually it goes on to really autopilot. And I mean that sincerely, is that they have one form to send in. They have a team that's always there to help answer questions if they do have questions. And it's our goal to provide that excellent onboarding experience so that we can get to the point where this is just now second nature, to our clients.
Mute again, Ira.
Oh, I'm sorry. Chad, you talked earlier about, the services with benefit verifications. And I think some of the big problems that I think practices see is tracking those benefit verifications and where they are in the process. Can you explain how Total Ancillary is able to manage the benefit verification process so that practices know where each patient is along the way?
Sure. Through our software interface, our clients can see what benefits verifications have been submitted, and it'll have one of a couple of different categories that it'll go into, different dispositions. One is submitted, not turned around. Again, we're diligent about meeting our 48-hour or less turnaround time, and then it'll either be approved or denied. And then you can actually go and you can click on the denial if you want to see why it was denied. That information is in there, so it's housed all electronically for our clients. But believe it or not, our average client, we can set up the benefits verifications so whomever needs to be notified in the practice is attached to that encrypted email. And that's what a majority of our clients do. Is it works for them. And then from there, we track whenever benefit verifications go back to a client. If a client hasn't placed an order within a certain amount of time, we'll reach out to them with a gentle reminder to say, we know that you had a successful benefit verification returned back to you Tuesday at noon. Do and the anticipated, we log anticipated injection days and anticipated application days. So that sets an alarm for us because we want to make sure that our clients have their product at least 2 days prior to that patient encounter. So that is all tracked in our system. Our amazing account managers will reach out and say, just want to make sure, the patient canceled. Okay, no problem. But we want to make sure that nothing's falling through the cracks. And so we've just learned to be proactive. And that just seems to make the world go round and a lot less stress for everybody involved.
Oh, I'm sorry. I keep putting it on mute. I keep putting it on mute in case there's any outside noises. Chad, when you have these, a lot of practices have developed relationships with their reps for a variety of different companies. I think. Can you explain that those relationships that they've developed don't have to be damaged or ruined? They could be continued even though they're utilizing the Total Ancillary platform, and those reps aren't going to be cheated out of anything that they're entitled to because that doctor is one of their doctors. Can you explain a little bit that, because people don't really understand the agnosticity of Total Ancillary and the fact that you can maintain your already established relationships if you choose to.
Sure. Yeah. Absolutely. And that is our focus. Is yes, we'll educate you as to the whole universe of products that are out there. But if you're very satisfied with a particular product, you see really excellent outcomes with that particular product, the sales rep's taking good care of your practice, we can often work with that same sales rep. It depends upon their particular employment situation and what that looks like. But we actually welcome sales reps who provide great service for clients to, you can also come work with us. And so there can be a financial incentive for those sales reps if their current employment situation allows them to do so. Oftentimes, especially with clients that are very, very busy, oftentimes there will be a sizable improvement in their return on their investment. And so that oftentimes our clients will keep that particular product that they really, really like, but they may add one or two more products for particular insurance payers. And so the initial sales rep's not going to be on the outside looking in, but there may be just a few more products in the mix. And so again, all decisions that our clients need to make, but again, would really truly welcome an opportunity to do a side-by-side comparison versus what you're currently doing versus what it would look like to have your program optimized.
You hear me now?
Yes, sir.
Chad, can you also talk about some of the programs that you have interfaced with? I know that at EHI, we give you a data dump of eClinicalWorks and you put it into your portal, but you do have the ability to do an HLA7 interface with the EMRs once the BAA is signed, if that practice decides to do that, so that you don't have to involve IT to do a data dump. Is that correct?
That is correct. And so we can set up an encrypted, HIPAA-compliant bidirectional line between our executive dashboard. So it's completely possible. Just for anybody who's done an EMR integration, there's two different parties involved. There's the total ancillary side, and then there's also the doctor's EMR vendor as well. So, but we've done a lot of those. With the what most of our clients gravitate to, frankly, is the encrypted export. Most EMRs, you can set up a once or twice a week export. It's 11 fields of data is really all that we need. And so a lot of our clients will just set that up once, twice a week. The benefit to the HL7 is it's real time. And, so that's very helpful. So you can go to your dashboard and it is, it's like watching the stock market changing all the time and moving around. But a lot of our clients feel that it is sufficient just to set up the reoccurring scheduled export. And I don't think we've ever really seen an EMR to date that hasn't had that functionality available within it as is.
I think that's all the questions. Unless Mike, you have any more? That's all.
That was great, Chad. That was super. It was enlightening. And I've been with you guys a couple times and with Noah several times, and
sure.
And but every time I get another pearl from it, it's very helpful.
Good. Well, I appreciate the time, and I just want to reiterate that we're passionate about doing this right, and pro patient, pro doctor, and so it's really our goal that when our clients work with us, that they look at us saying, "Oh, wow, Ancillary provides so much additional value add. Pricing is the same, terms are the same, that it just becomes one of those like aha moments where our clients just say, why would I go elsewhere?" And so that's really what we're trying to accomplish. And so again, I do appreciate the opportunity to come on here and to share with everyone. And please look for an email tomorrow. We'll be in communication. And I appreciate you guys. Thank you.
Well, Chad,
Chad.
Thank you very much. Your company has been a good partner for Taylor, and it's provided a good value for those people that want to take advantage of it. I think you talked earlier that some people just do the minimal and they think there's a catch for everything, but that they need to decide on their own. But I want to thank everybody for joining us today on Taylor Tuesday. As always, Mike and I think we learn something every time we're doing this, and Mike and I have been in the health policy world for a very, very long time together. And Mike was my predecessor as a CPT rep for APMA, and I had big shoes to fill when I started doing that. But I think that getting the right tools again is what Taylor is about. is it's not just a product. It's giving you the tools to help things better. I'm going to tell you in 2 weeks, our next topic is phenomenal. It is about cybercrime. I know that we've seen many webinars on cybercrime, and it's a threat to your practice. Depending on what malpractice carrier you're with, they've increased your cyber insurance. They've even asked you to get a higher level of cyber insurance because there's only certain things that are covered. We've partnered with a company that is amazing. It's called C3 Tech. I can tell you that all of my employees at Taylor Medical, on our personal devices, on our laptops, we are using C3 Tech. They actually surf the dark web to see if there are things that are going on. This is not your typical IT tech company. This is a company that's made to protect your practice from cyber crimes that are happening. And I can't tell you, they've been a great partner to work with. All the backup is done. I don't even know what's going on, to be very honest with you, but we're really looking forward to having them on in 2 weeks, and I think that you'll really enjoy learning about that.
It says 3 weeks. Is that the accurate date? That's 3 weeks from today. Usually it would be the 30th. Are we skipping a week maybe because of holidays or something?
That I can't tell you. Now, maybe I can get a quick response from Siobhan, who I know is probably listening.
I know we'll be sending out notices, and Siobhan will be sending out stuff, but I just happened to notice it was 3 weeks, and I just want to make sure people didn't get screwed up and think that we bagged out on them. We'll blame Chad.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll come back. I'll fill in. Don't you guys worry. We have more services.
Anyway, we will email everybody. It's the first and third Tuesday of every month. So I guess that it's the April 6th is the first Tuesday. That's how we do it, Mike. This must be a 5-week month. So it's the first and third Tuesday of every month. So that's where the change happens. Yes, thank you, Siobhan. Anyway, again, have a great evening. We look forward to seeing you at our next presentation. Chad's going to follow up with you. Anybody wants to call me for my personal comments on the information provided. If anybody who knows me, I'm pretty straightforward, and I'll tell you the good and the bad. I don't have any problem with it. So anyway, thank you very much for joining us. And the sun is setting, and it's actually getting cold out here, so I'm going to go inside. So everybody have a nice evening, and please contact and let us do a cost analysis for you.
See you guys. Have a good night. Thanks, Chad.
Thanks,
See
guys.
you, Ig.
Thank you.